Now for global business updates, Rotus Oddiri joins us. Good morning, Rotus.
Good morning, Dr. Abati. Good morning, Ayo. Good morning, Rufai. Good morning to all our viewers. And a special shout out to our YouTube community. I know they like making money. So I want to talk to them as well today to make some cash. We start off with Nvidia. I heard Ayo touch on this. Just look at the top 10 biggest companies in the world. You'll see Microsoft there at numero uno, Nvidia at numero dos, Apple in third place. Then you've got Google, Amazon, Saudi Aramco, Meta, Berkshire Hathaway, TSMC, and Eli Lilly. 8 out of those 10 companies are American. The three of you are just trying to bash now over Binance. How dare you? You've also got one company, of course, from Saudi Arabia. That's Saudi Aramco. And then you've got TSMC, of course, which is from Asia. If you want your economy to grow, your companies have to grow. So if you want to have, as far as market cap value and so on and so forth, innovation, free markets, you are looking at the cream of the crop as far as the top 10 is concerned. But going to the meteoric rise of Nvidia, third company in history to cross 3 trillion after Microsoft, after Apple. You can see that as of yesterday's close, 3.001 trillion. Apple not too far behind, 3.003 as well. Nvidia this year is up a staggering 150% so far. It closed at about 1,220, I believe, yesterday. In 2023, it was up by it tripled in value, and as you know, it is as a result of the AI boom. So again, for our folks out there, chatting. I know some of you have, in the online community, I know some of you own Nvidia stock. I can see them talking right now. I bought Nvidia in February. Taiwo Ovisu, he's of Paga. He was on Twitter saying he bought Nvidia back in January or February, and he's up about 79%. So, it's a good idea. Buy stocks, ladies and gentlemen. Talk to your financial advisor and grow your nest egg for a rainy day. It's a really, really good idea. We move to Europe. And Christine Lagarde, the European Central Bank, is meeting later today. They are going to be making a decision on the benchmark interest rate. I think it's about 4.5% or so. However, there's something called the last mile. The last mile for inflation, of course, is getting inflation down to the target range of the bank, which is 2%. In May, inflation rose to 2.6% from 2.4% in April. The markets are expecting that we'll get our first rate cut from the ECB today. I don't know, because the ECB does not want to run the risk of front-running the Federal Reserve. Again, from the great United States of America. All right, so here's the thing. The US has rates at this level. ECB is down here. If you cut rates further and the US maintains its interest rates trajectory, maintains rates where it is, your carry trade gap increases. So that means that investors who are in Europe see a wider gap between you and the Fed. They're going to take money out and go to the United States, which will weaken the euro. So maybe they'll cut. Christine Lagarde says she's going to take a data approach, as everybody else, Andrew Bailey, Jerome Powell, and so on and so forth. So we'll see. I mean, again, jobs numbers in the US are coming out tomorrow. That we're going to see the numbers from wage inflation in the United States. The labor market in the US is still very, very strong. That will give an indication as to where the Fed could possibly go with their own interest rate direction. But the ECB, they don't want to front run the Fed. So we'll see. Maybe we'll get that rate cut, but I'm leaning to maybe they'll get a hold, because you saw inflation still rising in May. Let's go to, again, we're still talking money. I hope folks are invested in South Africa just to diversify your global portfolio. The Rand fell yesterday, about 1.3%. Remember, we talked about the Rand gaining. The markets tell you what they want, how they see things, right? The markets are, to most times, very irrational. The Rand fell 1.3% because the ANC apparently is considering a unity government. Now, remember earlier in the week when we talked about the Rand gaining, it gained because we thought that, the markets were expecting that they would work with the ANC will work with the Democratic Alliance, which is the most market-friendly of all the parties when it comes to their policies. So this is what spooked the currency movement downwards. Malengi Bengu Motsiri, she's the spokeswoman for the ANC. Here's what she told journalists. She said, the best option at this point is looking at the government of national unity, because this is what the people of South Africa said to us. Put together a multi-party arrangement that works for the benefits of South Africa. Does it really work for the benefits of South Africa? Here is Brendan McKenna. He is an emerging market economist. He's a foreign exchange strategist with Wells Fargo. He said, quote, I think a government of national unity would likely result in policy paralysis and a stalled reform agenda, and possibly even a government that does not include Ramaphosa as president. Remember, that's what the MKs wanted. Jacob Zuma, who of course was disgraced out of office on corruption charges. That's what they want, but the ANC has said that's not going to happen. But then if they're going to consult everybody, who knows if Ramaphosa stays. He also continues, that's Brendan McKenna from Wells Fargo. He says, also, incorporating EFF, the Economic Freedom Fighters, and possibly MKP ideologies into policy would likely result in fiscal slippage and a broader worsening of, as if South Africa's public finances are not bad enough already, worsening of public finances as well as less policy predictability over the longer term. What's he talking about? Just to remind viewers, the EFF wants to nationalize banks, and they want to nationalize mining companies, and they want to seize land. There's a quote from Malema when they were having some, discussions with the media after the elections, saying that they should amend the constitution so that they can seize land from private sector without compensation. I mean, language like that would send anybody packing their bags and flying right out of South Africa. So, to include those type of ideologies in your government, you can see why the rand is fell yesterday. So again, the clock is ticking on this government and this coalition that they're going to put together. Let's come to Nigeria. Let's talk about some more money. The treasury bills, the most recent auction that we saw. I hope everybody out there is looking at investing. T-bill rates are still very attractive. If you look at the offer, right, I think it was at the third row after the auction date, the tenure, 14.4 billion offered for the 91-day paper. Subscription came in oversubscribed at 21.4. It was undersubscribed for the 182, but look at the 364-day paper, 179 billion offered, 677 billion went after that. And if you look at the current stop rates for the 364-day paper, 20.67%, your true yield when you reinvest and just get interest earning money to go into your pockets, get your credit alerts in your banks, you'll get a true yield of 26.05%. It's really healthy. We don't stop there. The federal government savings bond, the offer is still open this week. It closes tomorrow. Look at this offer for June. You'll see the 2-year bond is at 17.41%. This is coming from the Debt Management Office. 3-year bond at 18.4%. And if you look below at the bottom of your screen, look at the coupon payments, because I'm going to put this in a scenario, for the YouTube community that keeps, typing, getting the fingers exercised. I know you guys are talking about T-bills right as we speak. So September 12th, December, March, and June. That's when your coupon payments go. So you get 4 quarterly coupon payments in a year. But before we get to that, look at the trajectory of rates. We decided at the business desk at Arise News to put this together. Look at that. Look at the chart. This is what you want to see as an investor putting your money in money market instruments. The blue bar is your 2-year rates. This is for the federal government savings bond. Again, minimum entry point of 5,000 naira to get in. Your orange bar is 3-year. Look at that. Since we're at half year, we decided to compile it from January through June. What do the offers look like? And the trajectory is going up, ladies and gentlemen. January 11.03%, February 12.75%, March 15.09%, April 17.04%, May 17.4%, June 17.41%. Same thing with the 3-year. You can see it going all the way from 12.03% all the way to 18.4%. So now a scenario, particularly for our YouTube folks. I know you guys spend a lot of money on data. All that chatting you do 3, 4, 5 hours on different topics. Data is going up. The telecommunications firms say that they should charge more money for data. So I want to do something for you this morning. I want to create for you a recurring income extra income to come into your bank account 4 times a year. So take a look at the scenario, the Nigeria Savings Bond investment scenario. So say, dear Arise News YouTube commenter that stays online for so many hours, spending so much money on data. I know you got 5 million. I know you got 5 million. You take 5 million, because I've seen some of the, the comments that you guys got a lot of money. So you take 5 million naira and you put it in the 2-year bond at 17.41%. You get 870,000 naira, 700 in interest, just like that. Now, spread over those 4 coupon payments that I showed you in the previous slide, that comes out to 217,000 naira 4 times a year. If you put that 5 million in the 3-year at 18.4%, you get 920. And then that is spread out at 230,000 naira. Now get this, this is where the magic happens. This is the June offer. There will be another offer in July, and another offer in August, and September. Christmas is coming. The iPhone 16 is coming in September. There are going to be some pretty young ladies asking you to buy them a phone. You want to start putting money away. So if you buy, or rather invest in the July offer, and also invest in August, and invest in September, you are now creating a recurring flow of income in coupon payments that are coming into your account for each of those offers. So, shout out to our monetary authorities that are raising rates to fight inflation. There's a benefit to that. Get money, ladies and gentlemen. That's our presentation.
So a couple of things, Rotus. I think it's also great we educate the people the downside of all of this too. When we are getting all this hot money in, that we have to also pay interest. So for all those 17, 18, 19%, the other time it was a 1 trillion interest bill.
Well, downside for who? Downside for who? The
investor? No, the government. I'm talking about the government. I'm caring about the government of Nigeria here.
Yeah,
so there's a downside for the government of the country. So we should also say that in all this our rosy statement. And secondly, you're saying, no, people have 5 million. No, Rotus, that's not true. A lot of them don't have 5 million. Heritage Bank.
You can do 1 million.
Wait, let me talk.
$174,000. Your interest rates come out to
Wait, I'm a man of empirical fact. Heritage Bank recently, out of their 2.3 million customers, all right, it was only 4,000 people out of 2.3 million customers that had over 5 million naira. Only 4,000 people. So let's get it right.
Why are you laughing?
Moving on, Rotus, please. I'm not talking to you this morning. Moving on, I think what is happening to the ANC is they don't want integrity. That's why they don't want to do a deal with DA. The DA chief, the head of the DA party, was on the Newsroom Africa yesterday speaking in its first exclusive interview. And you can see the accountability the DA will bring to the markets. But they want to go for the safer options that's going to destroy business and it's going to turn South Africa into what Mugabe turned Zimbabwe into. Land appropriation, getting land off people with no compensation. You're just going to destroy anything economical that they have been built. I think in the best interest of South Africa, they should do a deal with DA. I know they don't want the accountability. And anyways, Cyril Ramaphosa is toast. I don't think that Cyril Ramaphosa will be able to win the leadership of the ANC at the next context. Because as far as they are concerned today, he doesn't have the leverage. He didn't win. He's trying to form a national coalition government. So I think they should probably think about it right. The thing about all those great companies doing well in America, why America is the bastion of entrepreneurship, is because they opened their economy to it. That's what they did. All the Jewish people that were sent away during the Hitler times came to America. The likes of the Rutherfords of this world, the Einsteins of this world, all the top scientists came to America. America is probably one of the only countries that declares Chapter 11 bankruptcy. They know as a businessman that you can fail. So they need to protect you from your debtors. So they have an ecosystem that supports the entrepreneurship. And that's why you see that the leaders of most of these companies are from other parts of the world that came to emigrate to America, and they did well. Look at Apple, for instance. Apple was started by Steve Jandali, which originally is Syria, which you know to be Steve Jobs today. Look at Nvidia's of this world. Look at the Sergey Brin's of this world and all of that, with Google and all of that. Even look at Microsoft and all of that. So we need to have an economy that accommodates people, that brings people in. It's not by going to shut down businesses and all of that.
All right, so let me start with the ANC, because this is a conversation we've had offline and online in terms of a coalition with DA, and I've maintained that I don't see that happening. I say this because even though we've analyzed the fact that it would make economic sense for South Africa, especially being bedeviled by economic challenges, including obviously job losses, lack of prosperity in that instance. But in terms of holding on to power, it has been said that the best bet, especially from the South African people's point of view, would be a coalition with MK or EFF, simply for the fact that a number of people opine that this would be a return to the old ANC. And there's that feeling of, that's in terms of all these parties coming together, ANC, that's ANC, MK, EFF, because MK and EFF are fractions, if I put it that way, of the ANC. And so going back to the old ideals, particularly of black prosperity. So in terms of ensuring that the people in South Africa, especially the black South Africans, are able to prosper and are moved from poverty to at least middle class, which the ANC had been able to achieve, particularly under Jacob Zuma. So the conversation of having the DA is that they would, yes, the economy will prosper, but it might plunge more people, especially black people, into lack of prosperity. And that's a challenge for them. That's a challenge for ANC. So if they're to hold on to power, it would be a difficult conversation for them to have in terms of their policy directions. There's always been that conversation around that. So I don't see that deal happening personally in terms of ANC and DA, even with the best of projections in terms of how it would impact the economy. Now down to Nvidia. Congratulations, a number of people are touting it as the new Apple. They've now surpassed Apple in market valuation. And for me, Rotus, this is a win for AI, a win in investment, because a number of people have touted this prosperity to their investment in AI and how they've just almost dominated. They have 80% market share in terms of their investment in AI. So a number of people are saying that if you're going to be serious as a tech company in the next few months, few years, you must be willing to make that much needed investment. And I think Apple is now waking up to that as well, but I hope it's not too late for them in terms of being able to catch up with Nvidia at this point. It's still second to Microsoft, and we'll see how that plays out. Let's see what Apple has up its sleeves. I think I mentioned that the first time we talked about this in March when they released that chip. Let's see what Apple will bring to the market to compete.
Okay, Nvidia has overtaken Microsoft and Apple. Where Microsoft is leading, it has overtaken Apple in terms of market value. Market value of Apple is $2.99 billion. That of Nvidia is now $3.019 billion. And what we see here is the fact that, look, the microchip sector and artificial intelligence is the big area of competition now. Artificial intelligence boom, now making Nvidia the most valuable, the second most valuable public company behind Microsoft. You'll recall that at the end of the fiscal year in March, first quarter, Nvidia reported, very frightening reports that drew investors to Nvidia, and the stock share of Nvidia increasing to about 24%. So what we're seeing here is the artificial intelligence phenomenon, and we're likely to see more in that direction, with Nvidia projecting that they are likely to do better this year, next year, and the year after. Now, here in Nigeria, you are talking about businesses doing well. Well, yesterday we had, I think on Arise TV, was it Newsday in the evening, the story of Fidelity Bank. On 28th March, the CBN talked about recapitalization of banks. But what we have now seen from the report coming from Fidelity Bank is that under the leadership of Dr. Onyali Ikpe, in fact, the bank was even ahead of the CBN. As far back as August 2023, the bank had even decided on recapitalization. What they have now done is to announce about 3.2 billion, ordinary shares at 50 kobo, shares, 50 kobo, and I think they said 9.25 per share. And then a public offer of 10 billion naira ordinary shares. So they have this combined offer that they are offering the people. But the whole objective is to further reposition the bank and to invest whatever comes out of it in IT infrastructure, in the expansion of the operation. But what is important here is that Fidelity Bank has taken the lead. It has set the pace. And I think on this program once or twice, we have had cause to praise Onyali Ikpe, on this program for being forward-looking. I hope that other banks, we also follow the example of Fidelity Bank to create value for their customers, either the ones that are taking the ordinary shares or the ones that are going by the public offer. Third point, you talked about the ECB. The ECB is poised to cut rates. And ahead of the ECB, that's the European bank, cutting rates for the Eurozone to be the first time since September 2019. That has already generated a lot of interest, particularly in Asia, where stocks have risen. The Nike, the Australian Stock Exchange, the Taiwan Exchange, they've all, improved. And part of it is the expectation that the Federal Reserve would, by September, also cut interest rates. So you see how the market is responding to some of these trends. Even oil, has improved. The Brent crude futures have gone up, by 0.54%. The U.S. Western Texas Intermediate, WTI, has also gone up by about 0.50%. But all of this, of course, will keep changing. But the more important story has to do with India. Wall Street is beginning to respond to, Narendra Modi and his party losing the majority in the recent elections in India. And why is that so? Because many of the tech giants in the United States are looking towards India because of the recovery, because of the slow recovery of China. China is the 5th largest economy. Narendra Modi says he will make it, the largest economy by 2026. But the question that is being asked on Wall Street is that, will he be able to achieve it? Now he has to form a coalition. On July 1, the new government will have to announce a new budget, which will tell us the directions of this new Indian government. But would that discourage American investors from turning away from India? I don't think so. But the big issue with the connection between politics and economy is that Narendra Modi, having promised that, his planned economic reforms will be passed expeditiously, he cannot do that because now he has to negotiate. He has to become a consensus leader. He has to persuade other parties in that coalition. The shape of that coalition we have not seen yet, but we'll see it when a new government is formed. And on July 1, the budget of India is released for the next fiscal year. But will American investors run away from India? I don't think so. I think on the long term, they will still see India, which has a big problem of unemployment, which was a major factor in Narendra Modi, not doing so well as expected, but that will not drive the investors away. They will still look at the Indian market as a great possibility for the future. Thank you very much, Rotus.